Welcome to Doom Scroll Patrol, the podcast where we scroll through the doomy news so you don't have to. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about the Trump tariffs, the backlash to it. We're going to be talking about climate change and insurance. We're going to be talking about Gaza and, of course, the Nintendo Switch 2 being kiboshed. I just really want to play Mario Kart World. I just really
want to play with you.
I'm Aaron Hickey McKay.
I'm Harold Moss.
I'm Hannah Snape.
And I'm Sam Perez.
Stick around. You're not going to want to miss it.
Daddy.
Carney is daddy now, apparently.
Who?
The Canadians, they want lead us daddy.
Lead us daddy.
Yeah, banker daddy. He's our banker daddy.
Yeah.
There's our climate
Mark
daddy.
Carney is the current PM who's seeking re-election insofar as he was PM for like 15 minutes. But the guy who replaced Trudeau on the Liberal Party is a guy named Mark Carney, and recently at a rally or whatever, someone was just like called him Big Daddy. I don't exactly remember how it goes. He's like, "Yeah, Big Daddy,"
and that's what we're going to do. But
Big Daddy.
He's the least. I mean, he's very much dad. I don't know if he's daddy.
Right.
Yeah.
Not like you, Aaron.
He's like father.
Oh my God, so embarrassing. In Wikipedia, under your prime ministers, it has your monarch.
That's rude.
Yeah, that's technically how the government goes. We have King Chuckles the III or whatever it is, up at top, and he sits there and is a feckless sausage hand wonk.
Sweet.
And then we have the Governor General, who is the representative of the king
Of the crown.
Also, I should say that in a technical sense, the king is God's representative on Earth, so he's like a pope kind of figure.
So why isn't God on Wikipedia? He should be above the king.
That's true. Yeah. You found a very structural flaw in Canada's democracy.
You know that feeling you get that tells you something is off?
Something?
Let's talk about no big deal, a global economic collapse prompted by President Trump enacting, quote, reciprocal tariffs on the world, except for Canada, Mexico, which already had their own tariffs, and of course, fucking Russia. Because of course, fucking
Russia. Yes.
It's just so transparent how in cahoots they are, and no one is acknowledging this somehow. It's like, anyway. So Russian agent President Trump he went to the Rose Garden. He did that. Everyone saw the giant chart that he had, and then they released some bullshit
numbers, just kind of, it was just like math. It was like,
but then everyone knows
a number and then another number, and we make a number that has nothing to do with anything.
But then everyone just reversed engineer because it's so obvious what it was. You took the trade deficit and you just divide that by the other country's exports, and then divide that by 2, and you just get the number. You just get the reciprocal tariffs.
Yeah.
It just generates that, and well, that's the stupid world we're living in, where fucking a trade deficit is treated as like a bad thing, which is obviously
it's
not.
There is some precedence to give him credit. It was quite effective a century ago in bringing us the Great Depression. Tariffs were probably the lead cause, although there were many causes of capitalism just being capitalism. It was the lead cause. Of course, the other one was responding to the collapse by slashing spending, right? So he's really got the 1-2 punch of how to bring about a world depression, which, to be fair, may be the intention. Because some of these psychotic people, they want to scoop up the wealth. It's generate a crisis, know it's coming, be ready to take advantage of it. There's also the Donald Trump as the very thick, crazy uncle who's been convinced since the 80s that tariffs are amazing. This is not a new obsession for him, by the way. He's just
been talking about this for 40 years.
For 40 years, he's been wanting to do this. This is really to be, I think we can take a moment and be glad for Donald, because this really is a dream come true. Since he was a wee little boy, he wanted to destroy the world economy by slapping tariffs on everybody. And that little boy, got to be president and do it.
Okay, I don't know how to make sense. There's all of these people trying to like make sense of this and be like, yeah, he's doing this because of like he wants to create like a permanent underclass because there's a whole bunch of people who are going to lose their jobs because AI is going to happen very soon, and so they're going to like they need to reshore manufacturing very quickly to all give them jobs because you can't just like. And I'm just like that. I don't know about fucking that. And there's what you just said where they're just trying to buy up all of the wealth. And then there's other people being like, yeah, they're just trying to create, they're trying to make the treasury bonds go to zero, and that's going to like take money out of the rich. And I'm like, all of these people, like for me, Occam's razor, he's just a dumb motherfucker.
He's a dumb motherfucker.
He's just the dumbest motherfucker who ever has been elected to any office. That includes like local offices, and yet your country elected him twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
No pride here.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I
There's
like
also
I like the videos of people just showing clips of him and a list of dementia.
Yeah, but I don't mean he's never been more clever than this. He's been more articulate. He had a little bit more on the ball, but he's always been an incurious, ignorant motherfucker. Absolutely. I will say the other thing that I find really credible, besides the fact that for 40 years he's like tariffs, because like he kind of got the idea.
Well, he's a real estate guy.
He's a real estate guy.
He can't export the thing that he has.
And it's his classic kind of wannabe mob boss thing, which is you put on tariffs, and what's happening? All the billionaires are texting him, begging for exceptions. He wants the countries to be begging him for exceptions. So it's just like the putting the squeeze on as the mob boss. And he
so
thinks it works for the country, and they come kiss the ring. And I think the one, if you'll allow me a very short rant.
Go on.
I think that one of the things that if it wasn't clear before this, the fact that we will not be saved by any form of elites, we will not be saved by the rich, we will not be saved by our elite institutions. When you look at the response of this, the billionaires kowtowing and bowing down and texting him begging for exceptions and advantage. You look at Columbia University and other Ivy Leagues just giving in and letting Donald Trump write their curriculum. You look at all the media that has just normalized and sane-washed him. It's just so absolutely clear. Any hope that the Democratic Party and its fecklessness, as we celebrated in our last episode, that there really are no amazing people who happen to be on the top because they're amazing who are going to come in and save things. It's not going to be that. It's going to have to be the labor movement. It's going to have to be struggle from below. It's going to have to be new forces, new parties, because there's no one up at the top now who's coming to save anybody besides their own ass.
Well, the Democrats, they found one speck of feck, and that was Cory Booker when he was still on
it was
Senate
a little
for 12
performative feck, but it was. I'll take the performative.
I think the performance of it was a pretty good performance, and there is a historical moment to it, and I just feel like, look, these people have the power to persuade you. The whole point of having representatives there is so that they show up and they like make speeches and stuff, and they're supposed to like advocate for things. They can't fucking kung fu these people out of existence, right? I mean, that's not what they're there for. As much as you want Cory Booker to just fucking punch Donald Trump, it's not going to happen.
No, it was more that Cory Booker then turned around and just gave a blank check to Israel to keep destroying babies. It's always a sour pill to go with. The little bits of effect that show up is the let's assassinate medics and blow up babies in tents. Yay. Always undermines the joy of that. But I will give the sign of showing some feck, that you give a feck, that you're fecking ready to stand up and feck about a bit is good on face. So Cory Booker, I will give him that.
What was it exactly? It wasn't a filibuster.
Well, it was a
right?
filibuster that didn't really. It wasn't stopping a particular law. It was just shutting down the workings of the Senate while he went on a stand-up filibuster. So it was a filibuster in that they were doing it. He wasn't stopping a particular law, but it was stopping the business of the Senate. It was a good and Schumer's in huge trouble. At this point, there's polling starting coming out showing that AOC could trump Schumer in a primary, which would actually bring me tremendous joy.
Just so in case people missed it, Cory Booker stood on the floor of the Senate and spoke for 25 hours.
Yeah.
And broke
Longest
Strom
in history.
Thurmond's record. Strom Thurmond, who was trying to like take away, or I guess keep the civil
segregation.
rights.
Segregation
trying to
now.
keep segregation.
Segregation forever.
How long does Strom Thurmond talk for?
It was like it was 24 and a bit, I think.
Oh my God! What did he say? Slurs the whole time?
Potentially problematic.
I think this is a good time to talk about the resistance that is starting to flow from the bottom up, and people are taking to the street. I think all 50 states have had thousands of people show up.
Hannah, do you want it? You were going to kick that off. Do you want to?
Oh, is there a clip?
Well, yeah, I have a clip, and I'll play it. It's a clip of every capital city in every state, and there are thousands of people at every protest.
Yep.
So everyone was coming together, and it was hopeful.
I was surprised here in Salt Lake. There was I think it was 6,000 people showed up.
Wow.
I remember just being, because I was down south, but I was I saw it on the news and was like, holy shit!
Apparently, I think there were 3 million people in total, which is significant. That's a large demonstration.
That's almost 1% of the population.
And that is not surprisingly, it wasn't talked about much.
Yeah.
12 Proud Boys will get a front page on the New York Times, but
Yeah, I haven't really
3
seen
million
it
people.
anywhere.
No, it's you had to go hunt or be on progressive media. This is another sign of just the media kind of cooperating.
And the point of
With
this
the
was
regime.
because it was hands off. Is it just a general against the government?
Hands off Social Security, hands
Okay.
off
Medicaid.
immigrants, Medicaid. It's kind of basically a defensive movement against everything that's being destroyed.
There's some really funny signs coming around, and I just want to share. This guy holding up. I should be at home smoking weed and cleaning my apartment, but these fucking Nazis are ruining my goddamn weekend. Goddamn Nazis. Which very honest.
That's my jam. I mean, that's what I feel like in general after an entire adult lifetime of trying to stop the end of the earth. It's like, God damn it, I should just be home or, hanging out with Sam at the Chinese buffet, smoking a spliff and getting some endless Chinese eats. That's what I should be doing with my
Fuck,
time.
I just want to walk my dog and then do my laundry. Can you God fucking damn it just let me do that?
I just want to have a nap, man.
All I wanted was a nap. I
I just
also
want to
like
light some candles, have a bath, but these fucking Nazis are coming in and just fucking shit up, and I can't just read a Grisham and just relax.
I
was
will
gonna make myself a nice meal and sit down in front of the TV. But
I
Is that
will-
a generic?
say-
Is reading a Grisham just reading a book? Is that like a Kleenex? Got to read
Well,
a
yeah,
Grisham.
I mean, John Grisham novels are just, there's so many that you just you use them like Kleenex.
I will say though, when I see people do that, because me and some other friends were talking about it, and we were just like, man, isn't it crazy that now everyone's kind of getting what it's like to be black or indigenous, like that. It's I just want to go to whatever the store with my kid, and then people follow me or a cop watches me or whatever. It's I just want to buy lentils, guys. That's all I'm doing. And then it's nope, they fucking run in and they got to talk to me. They got to fucking I mean, it's been this way my whole life. So it is I guess it is kind of nice. It's yeah, you guys get it now, right? It sucks, right?
Yeah.
This is it.
You understand oppression bad, right? And now that it's happening to you, maybe we can be in some solidarity together.
Yeah, please. Now imagine this forever.
Yeah, it doesn't go away. It didn't
Yeah.
just start. You were born
Imagine it
into
500 years running and no
Yeah.
signs of letting up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also too, teaching my kid it, okay, this is what's probably gonna happen. Like that. Dad, why is this guy following us in Target? And I'm well, he probably thinks I'm gonna steal something. And then now they have to learn it. So I don't know. I hope that's one thing I hope. I hope it does breed a kind of a solidarity, like you said, and just people being oh, this is awful. We need to change it. Not just for us, but everybody. It needs to change for everybody. So
Well,
Sam, I'm really glad you brought that up because I've just been oh yeah, I've been taking this whole walking around the world being a white man thing very much for granted, and I know I'm on this kind of podcast even still. Like, and I can't be the only one thinking this.
Yeah. This might be out of pocket, but it does feel a bit cathartic. When I was living in Vancouver, if you're in a big city, there's much more diversity than the little tiny towns. But when I was in Vancouver, and I still had a lot of like really serious medical stuff, so I had to use a wheelchair and shit. I would always get followed around in stores because I don't know, I'm suspicious. I don't know. I had green hair at the time. I don't know. But most of the security guards were all Sikh. So they would be the ones following me around. So I kind of felt good for them that they got to follow me around. You know?
I think it's, Hannah,
I was
I think
about-
it's just when we look into your eyes, just the evil in your heart is clear to
Yeah.
everyone, right?
Well, no, that I kind of get it because when I used to be a bouncer in college, I would sometimes target white people just for funsies. Like it'd be some old guy, I'm like, "Hey man, let me check your ID," and he's like, "I'm 50." I'm like, "I don't give a shit." And then I'd call him boy, and they hate it because it'd be some 50-year-old white guy. I'm like, "Hey boy, let me see your ID," and he's like, "What did you say?" I'm like, "Do you want to get it or not?" So I kind of get it.
They probably deserve it.
I found this thing on Threads, and maybe I can find it. I forgot to bring this in and put it in the chat, but like it was some AI
Threads,
slop.
Is Threads popping?
I'm popping on Threads, to be honest.
Oh,
like it's way better.
really?
Like ever since I deleted X, my life has just been. I just feel so much less angry all of the time. I'm obviously angry some of the time,
Yeah.
but like you open up X and you're just like, oh, this is awful. And Threads is a lot less. Blue Sky is way better, but again, I just happened to see this on Threads. Someone was sharing this like AI generated slop video, and I can put it in the chat in a second if you allow me to. But the idea of it is, for those who can't see it, it's kind of like a stab in it's like taking a shot at the MAGA people trying to reshore.
Oh yeah,
factory
I think
work
this
and
one
stuff like
came
that.
from China. I think it's China memes.
Oh,
China's
and,
producing.
and it has like the
memes around
Chinese
it.
music, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
guy sewing or
So
something.
it's just like
It's-
AI slop
yeah.
of just like Americans, all of them obese for some reason, like at
mean-
in a sweatshop and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yo,
They got us.
I don't know, like they're like, yeah, and there's like make America great again. I was like, I don't know if pointing out how American consumerism creates terrible working conditions for the global south is the flex you think it is. I don't know.
But I think it was in China. It was making fun of America because saying you're not going to do this. There's also Forbes has an estimate. What do you think an iPhone made in America would cost?
Oh God, at least 15,000.
Yeah,
I don't
keep
know.
Going. Keep going.
Oh, up?
It's more than $15,000?
At Blue Capital, this is one estimate is that it might cost $30,000 to $100,000 if they had to solely manufacture it here. Now, I'm not saying
Jesus.
that is a definitive answer.
Yeah.
It's
That's a big range too.
but we also, because the factories don't exist, the people don't exist, the wages are different. There's a whole range of things. You'd have to build an entire infrastructure. It's simply not happening. It's simply not happening. Although that's also, wherever it is, whether it's 15,000, 30,000, 100,000, it's also a sign of how just broken, like, that you get that for $1,000 because of cheap exploited labor elsewhere and the ability to pollute and all the things that make it possible. That, you know, there's an end date on the way we're doing things one way or the other, which is a good throw to you, Aaron.
What I don't know what you want me to
end
talk
dates.
about.
Oh, the insurer. The end date on does capitalism have a sell by date? Is the produce getting spoiled?
Hell yeah, guys.
One of the things I do like to say about like people think like, oh yeah, everything, you know, the way we're doing things is unsustainable. People don't really understand what that actually means. It means that it ends.
It ends.
Of one way or another. Of like
Yep.
it means eventually this will stop. And we're starting to see a lot of the systemic things starting to buckle, and definitely within the insurance market, that is one of the things. So there was this headline came into the Guardian: "Is climate crisis on track to destroy capitalism?" warns top insurer. And so basically, just to give you the TLDR on it, they're basically saying action urgently needed to save the conditions under which the markets and civilization itself can operate, says Gunther Dallinger, board member of Alliance SE, one of the biggest insurers in the world. Basically, we're fast approaching temperature levels like 1.5, 2 degrees Celsius, 3 degrees above industrial levels. And basically, insurers will no longer be able to cover the risks of all of the damages that will ensue at that level. So like the premiums cannot cover the payouts, and the entire insurance market could collapse, and you might have basically a climate-induced credit crunch is what they're calling it. So vast regions were already...
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say vast regions of the United States are already seeing that, like Florida, California are becoming uninsurable. And
For
once
housing.
you don't have insurance for things, it's not just homes. It's like infrastructure, transportation, agriculture, heavy industry. All of these things break down, and you cannot do them anymore. You can't have no insurance on even oil and gas rigs, things like that. Those things need insurance to operate, because one small thing and your entire operation goes down. If you don't have risk, if you can't insure against the risk of it, no investor is going to give you money. So the entire system kind of collapses if insurance collapses.
And I think this is one of the things that get missed when there's like, although they're getting more realistic, which is what would 2 degrees, 3 degrees centigrade do to the global gross domestic product. So how much the world produces every year. There was really delusional takes that like 3 degrees centigrade might cut 10% off of global gross domestic product, which was insane, and was based on ideas like, even though there's superstorms and boiling heat, production will still take place in a factory that's been wiped off the face of the earth, right? So they're now getting into more realistic numbers like 40, 50% cut off, like having the wealth of the world. But even then, and I think this gets to it misses a key point, which is like, we're not talking about like an efficiency of like how well you can throw or how hard you can throw. It's basically like a bridge, and you just start taking out supports, and you're playing fucking Jenga with global civilization. And it's not like, oh, it becomes less and less efficient. At some point, it simply collapses, right? And that's the insurance industry actually understands it's better than any other section of capitalism, because this is what they do. They do
Their entire business,
their entire industry is risk assessment.
Is understanding risk.
Well, it's kind of like, I remember seeing it was something like, you may not believe in the climate crisis, but your insurance company sure as hell does.
Yeah.
Right, because they see it in the claims
in the
processing.
claims they're getting.
Yeah, there's like, oh, the claims processing is just first of all, I mean, generally the value of property and stuff keeps going up, but at the same time, the severity of the events is like fucking California, LA just burned. Like we don't need, this is not a question anymore.
Yeah. It's not a question anymore.
And things are going to increase non-linearly, as you were just saying. It's not just like a small like increase. It's just as you get the energy in balance, things start to, a stable system, it was roughly a stable system for the last roughly 10,000 years, is going to start being fucking wacky in ways that we can't predict.
And I think that obviously one of our core frustrations is absolutely unnecessary. We have the technology, the know-how. There are tough problems to solve, but the biggest problems to solve, we actually already know how to do. Just ramping down to, as you're framing, which I love, Aaron, ramping down fossil fuels as fast and fairly as possible. We actually have the pathway to do that. There are some tough problems that we're going to have to solve, like aviation fuel. They're solvable, but they'll take longer. But the core problem of ramping down fossil fuels we're going to do. So it's purely economic self-interest of the wealth and power that fossil fuels have established inside capitalism. So it's an unnecessary collapse. Doesn't need to be happening. We could be slowing it down. We'd still be dealing with the problems with it. The other side, so that's the hopeful thing, which is like, oh, we could fucking solve this, right?
And an incredible amount of progress is being left on the table, and we are just not even trying.
But then the other side
to it, the role of fossil fuels, just to quickly say, the role of fossil fuels is unclear what the future is, but we're treating it as like a thing that we need to keep burning at an exponential rate to grow the economy, when we should be treating it as a precious resource that, if we use wisely, can get us to a place where we don't need it nearly as much.
And that's the core thing that I was getting to, which is that one of the problems is now collapse will help solve some of the problems all on its own on some level, but it's just billions of deaths is in the process. The weaker the global system becomes, the longer these decisions get put off, the less resources we have to deal with it. And global institutions, global economy, these things, we are in a better place to do it now. The more we put it off, the more collapse becomes the cudgel that just eliminates things, rather than us being able to make some decisions about how wouldn't it be nice to have a livable planet for some more decades?
Yeah, well, the Peter Kalmus, our friend, our NASA scientist.
Friend of the show, Peter Kalmus.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the
Peter
show.
Kalmus.
Daddy of the show.
NASA climate scientist Peter Kalmus, who may maybe get disappeared by the government. I don't know.
Let's hope not. But the videos we did with him last year, like Climate 101, something he said in those videos was, if we reach our, this is a very bad explanation, we have about 100 years to start ramping down the escalation, and then we should be okay.
If we were doing it now, you mean? If
we were doing it now.
now, yeah.
If we go into emergency mode, mitigate like our lives depend on it, which they do, we could see peak temperatures later this century. And then after 2100, the planet would start to cool off and we would all breathe a huge collective sigh of relief, as would all the other life on planet Earth. If, however, we continue to expand fossil fuels like Biden is doing with the Willow Project, with the Mountain Valley Pipeline, and other corporate and world leaders around the world are doing right now, insane idea to expand fossil fuels right now, but that's where we are as a global civilization, as a global society, then we will see peak temperatures much, much later, maybe in the 2100s, maybe even later than that. And it will take hundreds of years for temperatures to come back down to a basically civilization friendly level. So we want to avoid that.
Yeah, but if it keeps going, then it turns into the uncontrollable mess.
And we don't know when that tipping point is, right?
Yeah.
That's the scary thing. We don't know if it's already passed, if it's now, if it's soon. So there's an urgency which no ruling institution, media, academic, no institution is taking with anything near the severity. And the tech bros, as you can see, just think that they're gonna have AI and bunker and Mars their way through it.
Bare soil bereft of trees and forests. Damage to land and air, pollution to water, threaten the survival of our environment.
We're all kind of seeing that individual action is one of those things, or just individual consumer action is not one of those things that's really going to save us on this. And we live in such a global interconnected system, both financially and biophysically, that we need to start thinking on a much grander scale about how we do these things. Because like one guy can come in, like the president, and just like put a bunch of tariffs and throw a wrench in the whole thing, and you are going to be a lot poorer from no fault of your own. Like we have this myth that like if you didn't succeed in life, it's your fucking fault.
You gotta,
No, you're going to be
you
a
gotta
lot
hustle
poorer.
and grind.
Yeah, you got to hustle and grind, and that's been the case for forever, right?
We got to hustle, grind,
ourselves,
hopefully be male and white. But if that's the part that's starting to get undermined, right? Is really the implication was
even just being in the United States was already a giant like boost ahead. Like if you're in fucking any other country, you don't have the same pathways that you could have had to just extreme wealth. That the myth makers say, like they bootstrap their way to $1 billion or whatever, and it's like that was not that they didn't earn it in the same way that they want you to think they earned it.
and
Consequently, if you are poor, it is not entirely your fault. Maybe you made some bad choices here and there, but at the same time, we don't have to have a situation in which everyone is fucking going to be worse off because of this.
Everyone could have food and shelter and like a decent quality of life.
Yeah, without taking it away from other people.
Yeah, we have everything that we would need, but some people are just, they really like to hoard their gold. So.
Well, and it's beyond the people. It's just it's a terminal system. You know, colonialism, capitalism. It's just its end is baked into its origins.
I suppose if you're starting from the premise of I'm going to go over and take this other guy's stuff, and the only way to succeed in life is for everyone to start doing I'm going to go over there and take other guys' stuff, then that does lead to...
Well, and I'm going to extract... I'm going to destroy wealth of ecosystems and the wealth of billions of years of evolution in order just to create shit that I can extract more wealth from. And that includes human bodies and animal bodies and ecosystems and everything, right? You just scrape the bottom of the ocean. You know, it's inherent in the entire extractive and genocidal nature of its origins.
There does seem to be maybe this is a bit of a non sequitur, but like a lot of our anxiety, you see expressed in sci-fi movies, but a lot of our anxiety about aliens or like rogue AI just seem to be like, what if we took that colonial impulse of ourselves and put it into something that is much more superior than us? Like War of the Worlds is coming in. We have the Martians coming in and doing the same thing that like the British were doing to India. You have all of these AI scenarios where it becomes, especially if you read a lot of like the philosophy of it, people are like, well, if it has a strategic advantage, a singular strategic advantage, it might just like create a singleton overnight because it's so much smarter than us. And I just wonder if maybe we should be starting to fix ourselves instead of accelerating this technology that is designed to do that.
Well, and it's
people who are already doing that for a living.
Yeah, I was going to say it's built by the worst offenders in it, right? It mirrors the psychosis of the tech bro class.
Good thing we're dumb high school kids who don't get that.
You mentioned Earth energy imbalance earlier, Aaron, and it's
Let's have
one of those a little interlude because it's one of the core concepts that is going to determine the survival of human civilization and a lot of other life on Earth. And people don't really know what it is or talk about it. It's so what I do when I come to a question like that is,
okay,
1 nuke, 2 nukes, 3 nukes, 4, 5 nukes, 6 nukes, 7 nukes more, 8 nukes, 9, now we're up to 10, 11 nukes, then do it all over again. Every second and every minute, every hour in every day. That's the heat we're adding to Earth's energy systems. 8 Hiroshima bombs of heat every second. Baby, that's not okay. Earth's energy imbalance, or EEI. My, it's the difference between the energy coming from the sun and the energy moving on back to space. It's the single most important equation to the human race. That's the short version.
Hey!
I liked how it rhymed.
Wow, it's very impressive.
Earth energy
What's
imbalance.
EEI again, Harold?
It's the Earth energy imbalance. It's the difference between the energy coming from the sun and the energy moving on back to space. It's just how much we're heating up. And the calculations have been done that it's about 8 Hiroshima bombs worth of heat every second of every minute.
Which is about 700,000 a day.
700,000. So when we talk
So we're adding 700,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs to the atmosphere in terms of equivalent heat energy per day compared to what it would have been without the amount of CO2 in the atmospure.
CO2 and
the other greenhouse gases and
methane and all of that stuff. Yeah, exactly. That's so when we talk about like the drama of this and the urgency, I do think understanding 700,000 Hiroshima bombs of heat every single day, and we're accelerating it instead of shutting it down. You know,
we should be thinking about EEI, not DEI.
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
I think it's important that we keep fucking talking about Gaza because it's not getting better. They are now just, journalists slaughtered. They're now just assassinating medics by the more than dozen. There were 15 medics, and they originally said they were acting in a threatening manner. Someone filmed it. It was, of course, a complete lie. Netanyahu's now getting on board with the complete displacement of every Palestinian from Gaza to make, I guess, Donald Trump's Riviera,
Yeah.
But that AI video looks pretty dope.
The other day.
God, yeah.
Sorry, I spoke over you, Hannah.
Oh, sorry. I just said they bombed 3 schools in one day.
Yeah,
Saturday.
I mean, it's just genocide's ongoing, and it is a strategy for dealing with the collapse that we're dealing with, which is if they can get away with this, that's what they do to inconvenient populations, and that's we don't need a good reason to be speaking out and trying to do whatever the fuck we can around Gaza, because it's genocide. It's horrendous. But also they are doing this in plain sight, and they are getting away with it and accelerating it. And it is a strategy. It's like Israel is also one of the reasons they have their own arms industry, but it's also the place where arms go get tested on human beings. Like, they periodically have always been bombing Gaza every so often, and it's like, look how your cluster bombs work, and this is a test case for inconvenient populations, which any of us might find ourselves in at any point, right? An inconvenient population. We can't stop talking. We can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, and there's thousands and thousands of people who need help right now. It would be great if there were larger organizations doing this work, and there are. But I just wanted to share a few organizations, independent organizations, who either have already done good and are going to be doing more, or they have really legitimate plans in place. Like this organization, Operation Real Life, they're raising money to send out 100 water trucks to the underserved parts of Gaza where humanitarian aid is not being allowed in. And each truck can serve up to 100 people. So that's 100,000 people that are going to get water. We can put the link for that somewhere.
Yeah, let's put the link for that one in the description.
I think, where go find the description, there's going to be links.
We can put a few other links. There's so many. I just have a few here. Families who have a family member who need like really dire medical support in Gaza who cannot access it. And just there's just so much sadness, but we'll put some links for a few families and stuff. And I also wanted to give a shout out to this sanctuary for pets, just because they have zero traction online and they're really trying. And I think any shout out would be good. So if anyone can send like a couple bucks to any of these links, it makes a difference. So yeah.
Anybody willing to donate that much deserves their own dinner.
Oh, and just to bring in some more good news, apparently this is late breaking. Trump is now seriously considering bombing Mexico. Just because it's a Tuesday, because I guess is this supposed to distract? It's about unilateral drone strikes into Mexico. What could possibly go wrong?
Like why? Like who's the what?
Fentanyl? It's just fentanyl. It's whatever. That's the same thing with fentanyl. You just make shit up and say fentanyl. Just like the whole reason of sending of abducting people and saying that they're members of MS-13 and whatnot is made up tattoos that they just made up. It doesn't matter. They just say shit and do whatever the fuck they want.
Why don't we just make it up as we go along?
Turning it over to Hannah's wild speculation corner.
It could be that. But I've heard murmurings that there's going to be martial law imposed on April 20th.
I've heard that conspiracy theory too.
That's been around.
I don't know entirely what this thing is, but if it's gonna be any stupid date, it's gonna be fucking April 20th, because you get the double whammy of 420 Blaze It, and 420 happens to be Hitler's birthday.
Yay!
So Elon's got two reasons to do that, and I believe the conspiracy theory is that they're going to impose the Insurrection Act on April 20th, or like that's the deadline for it. So.
I would say there's
when
not
Blaze
really
It
any...
is for the United States. Everyone's going to be blazing it then, I guess.
Yeah, there's not much credible information on it. It does, however, in the context we're in, the wildest-eyed conspiracy you could come up with about what they're going to do is within the realm of plausible. That's the downside, right? They are going to do whatever they can do. There is no limit. There are no limits. There are no guardrails. There is no ending what they can get away with. That is absolutely what we're up against.
I think they want you to believe that. I think they're stupid, man. Like they're
I'm not saying they will get away with it.
Yeah, I'm just saying they're human beings and they can be stopped. Like,
I'm not saying they're unstoppable.
Why they can't fucking. Yeah,
I'm saying there's no self limits to what they're going to try and do.
Oh, sure.
I think I think that the global trade war is starting to severely undermine it because the billionaires, the oligarchs are starting to turn on Trump. The ones who aren't on the inside, because trust me, a lot of people made a lot of money off the stock market crash because they knew what was coming. A lot of people made a lot of money off of it, including Trump and all the people around him. But there's a lot of billionaires who were like, oligarchs who were like, wait a second, this wasn't, yes to deregulation, yes to cutting our taxes, yes to impoverishing the already impoverished even more, yes to mass all of that's fine, but now you're hitting our bottom line. And so I think that's one of the wheels that's coming off. I don't think they're unstoppable at all. I think that they will not stop themselves. They have no self-regulation, right? They will try to do whatever they want, but that doesn't mean they can get away with it. And I think in a lot of ways, as his power completely collapses, his popularity, as people really start to get pissed off, they lose their ability to do it. And that's why they're trying to go so fast, is I think that there's some recognition of this. They're not unstoppable.
So they're like a bunch of toddlers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Need to put them in
certainly.
Timeout. Yes.
Timeout is, that's a word for it.
Presenting Otto and Freddie for the funniest prize fight in circus history.
Are you talking about Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, depending on who you're talking to, it's terrible news. For me and my child who wants a new Nintendo, awful news. But yeah, basically, tariffs are probably going to affect the price of the new Nintendo. In fact, they're doing pre-orders for it, and Nintendo released a statement. And Nintendo never does political shit. Like, they never talk about this stuff ever, no matter what's going on. So it's like pretty crazy for them to release a statement. But they essentially just said, we are not doing pre-orders in the United States on April 9th is when it was opening up around the world, until we figure out what's going on. So like, it's just like, that's crazy. Again, like, especially if you understand like how Nintendo operates, that's something they never do. So that's why a lot of people were like, oh, this is like serious if fucking Nintendo is like making a statement on this kind of stuff.
So you telling me that I could probably make a pretty penny by like pre-ordering it here in Canada and then smuggling it to the United States?
In fact, I was going to ask one of you. I'm like, hey, you want to...
No way I'm fucking crossing that border. Not after being on this show.
Hannah, just throw it over the board.
I think that people will be desperate enough for an ass-smelling Nintendo Switch. So, just one unit at a time.
Now you guys will know how us Canadians feel, because there's so many things we can't order here, so we have to like order it to America and ship it up. So now
literally asked for the Dr. Pepper berry from somebody the other day. Like
the blackberry?
Oh, the blackberry. I have one of those here at home. I got it smuggled in contraband.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, I wish you lived close. I have like 4 of them. I stocked up.
Boy, you really are the land of snack opportunity or whatever.
We are. That's the only good thing about America. Is
you're great
snacks.
at giving people snacks.
A little stock, a little bonds, a little cash or cash equivalents, and then maybe some snacks. But no.
And give a shout out from Noodle Poodle Girl. Alongside I've Had It podcast, this is my new fave. Also, Hannah is very cool. I like that you include women's voices. Much progressive media forgets that part. Her perspective is so similar to mine. Is she on TikTok? Since I've been transplanted from a very progressive part of the country to Kentucky, enough said, I don't have friends with similar values. It's great. It's a great feeling to listen to this podcast in the car, almost like I'm chilling with friends, chatting about things that matter. You get it. So just wanted to shout out Noodle Poodle Girl.
Oh, we love you, Noodle Poodle.
We love you, Noodle Poodle Girl.
That's so nice. That's so awesome. So yeah, that I guess we could end on that. Like, I was posting, doing social media stuff. Because I'll read the comments, and 99% of them are dog shit. Because it's just like someone's like, I don't know, whatever. You can imagine.
Elon Musk rules. I also live in Kentucky and disagree.
Yeah, exactly. But it was just cool to see that, to just someone kind of take their time and talk about how much they like what we do. Because I know it's easy to sometimes forget it's almost like you're just throwing shit out into the void. And even though we don't get the most views in the world, it's just cool to know, like, hey, at least there's this one person that like appreciates what we're doing. So again,
all worth it.
We're doing this all for Noodle Poodle Girl.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The Noodle Poodle, the
This
Noodle
one
Poodle
goes out to
girls
you,
of the
Noodle
world.
Poodle girl.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
the world, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a.
And we love
beautiful
Hannah
idea.
too.
Yeah, we also do.
Well, I love you guys.
Yeah, Hannah, you're one of the sweetest people I know.
What?
Despite
That's
that
just-
spark of evil in your eyes.
Yeah,
that I
there's-
prefer
I'm
to
so-
see.
You're a very kind person, and like just having to get to know over the years, you have a good heart.
I like how you're like, I'm
Oh,
so
you're right.
evil, and then you help me troubleshoot like a video for like 3 hours.
Undeniable.